Hi guys, we've got a lesson today on adding and subtracting fractions. The first thing you've got here is a starter, so please pause the video, complete the starter and come back on for the answers. Right, question 1 here isn't something we've of course looked at recently, but we did look at it when we did fractions in class as well, and it was part of your quiz. So, to simplify a fraction, we must divide top and bottom by the same number. Both of these numbers, 2 and 6, can be divided by 2, which means we get 1 over 3. 3 over 9, both can be divided by 3, which means we get 1 over 3 again. And in question C, both can be divided by 5, so we get 4 over 5. Okay? No, not 5, 4 over 7. Okay? So we will need this kind of skill a little bit later on, because if we can simplify a fraction answer, then we must. Next, converting these to mixed numbers. 3 goes into 11 3 times with a remainder of 2. So put that over 3. 12 goes into 7, or 7 goes into 12 once with a remainder of 5 from 7 up to 12, and then our 7 as the denominator. And finally, 8 goes into 29 3 times with a remainder of 5 over 8. So question 2 there, converting between those mixed numbers, requiring a lot of division and multiplication skills. Okay, we will also need that skill today when we add fractions together. If our resulting fraction is top heavy, then I would like you to change it to a mixed number. Okay, so let's get going then with today's work. Questions here. I'm going to do A and B slightly differently than I'll do the rest. Now, I'm going to use diagrams to help you out with questions A and B. And the first thing I'm going to do is to draw 2 pizzas. They're split into 5 sections because that's what I'm looking at with my denominator. So split into 5 sections. For each of them, they should be equal sections. I'm just not that good at drawing. Now, in the first pizza, we have got 2/5. That'll be that first one there that I've got a red dot at. 2/5 is coloured in. In the second pizza, where I've got a green dot, there are also 2/5 coloured in. So I'm looking to add these two together. Say it was, one was a cheese pizza, one was a pepperoni pizza, and you wanted 2 slices from each, then you would create a total number of slices that you have of the pizza. Now, from here, we could then say, okay, so we've got 2 red slices, that could be this one and this one. We've got 2 green slices, that could be either of the other 2. And we can count how many slices we have, 1, 2, 3, 4, so it's 4 out of 5. Okay, I'll come back to that in a second. The next one, I'll split this one into 6 pieces, and another pizza into 6 pieces. And in the first pizza, I want 1 slice, and the second pizza, I want 1, 2, 3, 4 slices. Put those all together then onto a larger pizza. I had 1 red slice, 4 green slices, 1, 2, 3, 4. How much is that in total? 5 over 6. Now, what we notice here is that the denominators for each of these fractions are the same as the resulting fraction denominator. There are 2 6s here, and we have a 6 here as well. So that does not change for our answers. What does change, however, is the numbers on top. And the calculation of 1 plus 4 gives us the 5 for the bottom one. The calculation of 2 plus 2 gives us 4 for the top one. So when we are adding fractions, or indeed subtracting fractions, we keep the denominator the same for our resulting fraction. If the denominator is not the same, we cannot add the fractions together. Today, the denominators will always be the same. We'll look at tomorrow when they're not. So we can keep the denominator the same, that will be our resulting fraction denominator, and we perform the calculation to our top numbers. Okay, so let's see how this works then with some questions. I've got 2 here which are going to be adding, 2 down the bottom there which are subtracting, and then a couple of mixed number ones as well. So we know the resulting fraction for 2 7s plus 3 7s has to be something over 7. That denominator is the same, which means it has to remain in our answer. We simply then have to do a calculation on the top of our fraction. It is an adding calculation, so we have to do 2 plus 3. 5 over 7 is our result. For the next one, our denominator will be 8. We've got to add our 2 numerators, so 3 plus 7 is 10. Now with this one, there's a bit more that we can do. I can simplify this fraction by dividing top and bottom by 2 to give me 5 over 4. I can then change 5 over 4 into a mixed number of 1 and a quarter. So that question B there has taken in both things that we did in the starter, simplifying fractions and changing to a mixed number, but as well as doing that after we have already added the fractions together. So the next one, subtracting then. Subtracting is the exact same process, except we have to subtract our numbers on the top. 12 take away 10 in this case gives us 2 over 15. The denominator there staying the same as in the question. In F we have to subtract our 2 top numbers, 7 take away 3, giving us 4 over 8. Since the denominator has to stay the same, we can then divide both top and bottom here by 4, and if we can simplify, then we must. So that will leave us with 1 over 2 as our final answer. Now that's the extent to what you will do today. You'll have some questions, of course, in context as well, but these can also be applied into mixed number questions. Okay? And what I'm going to ask you to do for these is to first change each mixed number to a top-heavy fraction. Now, that is not essential for adding and subtracting fractions, but it will be when we come on to multiplying and dividing fractions. So therefore, I want you to do this as much as possible and do it mostly, even when we're adding and subtracting. That way we get to the hang of it. So 2 1/3, we've got to change that to top heavy. So we do 2 times 3 plus 1. Have a look back at Friday's video if you've forgotten how to do this. We've got to add that on to 1 times 3 plus 1 all over 3. Now that gives us then 7 over 3 plus 4 over 3. Our denominators are the same, so our resulting denominator is over 3, and 4 plus the 7 gives us 11 on top. Change that to a mixed number, it will have 3 and 2/3 as our final answer. Okay. Lastly then, changing these two to top heavy fractions, we've got to do 3 times 5 add 2 for the first one, and we've got to do 1 times 5 add 3 for the second one. That will give us 17 over 5, subtract 8 over 5. We know our resulting fraction is going to be over 5, and 17 subtract 8 gives us 9. The last thing we can do then is to change back to a mixed number. 5 goes into 9 one whole time with a remainder of 4, which will go over 5. Okay. Now to get these questions at the bottom here, you will need to have completed the work from Friday. So if you haven't done that, and you're unsure with what's going on with the questions G and H, that's because you haven't done Friday's lesson. There is a video there and some work to do on from Friday's lesson that will be necessary to complete questions G and H. You won't need it to complete today's work, but you will definitely need it for tomorrow's work. So make sure you do that. Go back to do Friday's lesson in the meantime once you have done today's. Okay? Good luck with today's. Everything you need to know is on the Teams page. Please do let me know if you need any help.